The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back into it, and we're back at it. This is The Local Show 2025 version, and Steve's looking a lot older. Wow, I'll tell you what. 1 year is like 15 years to you, isn't it?
No, I was talking.
Just check out the YouTube channel.
I was talking with someone earlier this week, and they were saying, you know, they keep seeing people that look older. They're like, wow, I saw so-and-so, and they look older.
Yeah.
They're saying the same thing about us, right?
I know.
You know, I actually ran into someone I was in high school with. We didn't know each other, but we were right around the same class.
Right.
You know, and he's got a lot of hair, and he looked great. But then there's me. But
that's embarrassing. I've met a couple of people from high school who recognize me, and hey, Tom, how are you? And I don't recognize them because they look like grandma and grandpa.
Yeah, the last time I saw you, you had teeth, and your hair, you had hair. Well, I don't have any hair, but
I feel bad, and maybe that's the way God's saying to me, you know, see, it ain't got it so bad.
You know what? I think we look to that, and this time of year we go, okay. Last year, you and I both had some big challenges. Last year, right? And it's like, okay,
I'm still going through them.
Yeah, right. How is this going to be different? And it just marks time. So,
oh golly. Well, here's a guy who's always positive and much younger than us. Thank goodness. It's Jerome Snyder. He's the owner of Pestmaster Service, or Pestmaster Syracuse. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, Tommy. How
good. Of course you are. You're young.
Yeah.
You got your ute.
I have my ute.
As long as you got your ute, you're doing good.
Do you have any mice in your house, Jerome?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Jerome, you started off as a scientist and went to school for kind of sciencey stuff, right?
I try to be a sciencey guy. Yeah, I have a chemistry degree, and I worked in pharmaceuticals, and I worked in some industrial chemical manufacturing and stuff like that for a long time. Yeah.
And then you got into this. It was a good franchise, right?
Yeah. It's
so you didn't have to start from square one.
I didn't have to start from square one. So I really didn't understand about like advertising and marketing. Like that stuff's all mystery.
You hate those people.
Right?
Even
Steve.
And those guys, they're all shysters when you go talk to them. All they want to do is take your money.
Spend more on ads.
So, I felt pretty good technical end of things, but the marketing and building a brand and stuff like that, I didn't know what I was doing.
But you were an entrepreneur. Why that industry versus, because you're a smart guy, you could have done a variety of things and you wanted to hang your own shingle and do your own. Why that?
I looked into it. Definitely the science part of it. It's not, just going and spraying something and it's done. You have to understand the chemical. You have to understand the biology. You got to understand the insects. You got to understand the vertebrates and their habits and when are they breeding. And, they're protected and it's a legal thing. I came out of pharmaceuticals and everything was legal, governed by the FDA. And so this business is governed by the EPA and there's a lot of regulatory stuff that I'm comfortable with. It's difficult, it's challenging, but you have to make sure that it's right. And so I kind of like that. Those kinds of aspects of the business were complementary to what my experience
was. So you like the rules and control. Do they go over the top at all? Is it like goofy or is it measured appropriately?
Most of them have a good reason why there's a law. If there's a law for example, when you can take a certain animal during the year or whether you can't or whether you have to get a permit for it. I mean, there's rules for that. Like we had killed all the woodpeckers, so we want to have...
You killed all the woodpeckers?
I didn't kill all the woodpeckers.
That's what you just said.
In the past, they killed all the woodpeckers.
What killed the woodpeckers?
Why did they do that?
People killed the pileated woodpecker. Remember Woody Woodpecker? And
yes.
Yeah.
So they killed them all because...
Why?
Well, they were damaging the house,
Oh, right.
So then they become...
Get on a wood surface, right?
Yeah. So now they become... protected, right? And then up in Radisson, you own a wood house, all those cedar siding house, because you can't have vinyl siding. You're in Radisson, right? And the woodpeckers are tearing that place up there.
Tom,
really?
When we were up in Liverpool at the house before we sold the house, we had woodpeckers, Oak Ridge Terrace, tons of trees. I thought they thankfully mostly hit the trees. There weren't ants or whatever. What do woodpeckers eat? Is it ants? What are they pecking away at?
So they're looking for bugs up in there. When they're banging on that house, there's a couple things. Sometimes they're looking for food. Sometimes they're communicating with their friends. They're trying to make the ladies enamored.
Really?
Yes, by how loud I can make noises. Right.
Not far from where my house is right now. We lived on Yulewood Circle out there in Cicero, and that was all cedar houses. Everything was cedar. And I woke up one day to a very large woodpecker, loud. It was big. I mean, I'm talking probably a little over a foot tall.
Yeah.
It was
So
a
like
big one.
bigger than a blue jay? Like,
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, it had to be over.
Did it have a red head?
It was a very red. Yeah,
They were all gone. There weren't any around.
Golly.
And thanks to conservation efforts, now they are ruining houses in Madison. Yeah.
Now, is there something that you could do to mitigate them coming to the house and maybe going to a tree instead?
We do some stuff for it. It's challenging to do. I'm not going to tell you we have a magic wand that we come down and wave and all of a sudden up they go. We do have some repellents that we use. We do put some metal on the house where they're banging. We do fill the holes. We do treat for the bugs. So that's one of the things we do is doing the pest control.
If there's no food there, maybe they won't bother.
Yeah,
right?
well, you could dissuade them that way. And then we can also mix some repellents in when we're putting that on there.
Yeah. Tell me about the wood boring bees, because I would imagine come spring and
Carpenter
stuff like that.
bees?
Yeah, the carpenter bees. Do they get into the cedar siding as well?
They do.
Yeah.
They love the wood. They find any board and they kind of go up in there and they dig a hole. It's like a 1/2-inch hole, and they take a left or right hand turn, whichever suits their fancy.
Yeah, that's.
And then they lay an egg, and then they put some propolis. They lay an egg, put some propolis, lay an egg, put some propolis.
Oh golly!
So then when those guys start hatching out,
What a
like,
mess.
you see them, and the customer's like, "You see bees? I thought you treated the bees." Right?
So a bunch of years ago, I was taking some pictures down at Ithaca College, and they were in the dorms. I was taking pictures for something there, and they were cedar. There were bees. The way they had created the. Oh my gosh! What you just said.
Yeah,
it was terrible. There were bees everywhere,
They
and
can
they were
destroy a house,
in the
yeah.
cedar, and they were.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this was a bunch of years ago. They had to do something, but it was nasty.
Yeah, they'll tear up your house.
So this time of year, some of the creatures, the rodents from outside, try to come in, right?
Yeah.
And how are you a little different than some of the places out there? You know?
So right now, squirrel game.
To get them out.
Right now, the mama squirrels are getting in. They're trying to find a place to have their little babies.
Oh, really? This is when they breed,
This is
huh?
squirrel. Next 6 weeks. You know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So squirrels right now are getting inside. They're trying to find a spot to have, their little babies. And that's kind of the big thing right now. They're getting up in your soffits, where you watch where your electric line comes across and it goes to the side of the house where it's anchored in.
Yeah, right.
They come across that and then they'll find a way to get in the soffit or get into the side. Sometimes the woodpecker will poke a hole and then the squirrel will chase in behind them. They work together to ruin it.
Golly.
So they do. They
Look
have
at
like
that.
a little teamwork. Yeah, so squirrels getting in up high and down low. Mice, mice are... got warm.
Do you have to kill these things, or do you just displace
Can
them
you
and
block
bring them
them out?
somewhere? Yeah.
We try to do the exclusion work to fix the house so they can't get back in. We do use one-way doors. We do use lethal traps. We do use repellents. We kind of do everything to get that guy out. But once he knows that big wooden box is warm and nice and good, he's not leaving.
One-way doors time. You should use those with your adult children.
Yeah, that's right.
They leave and they don't come back. So real quick, people can get, you and I were chatting a few weeks ago, they
Yeah.
can get a plan for the year, right?
Right now, yeah, we're getting ready to go with our season, with the New Year season. We're going to be sending out some letters. We're doing some promotionals. Like, now's the time to get in on us and get some early buy stuff. So you can call the office.
So call the office at the 598-4046 phone
That's
number.
us, 598-4046.
Okay, and it's pestmaster.com. Syracuse people can ask questions and what's it cost and how's it
they
happen.
call in, they talk to Evelyn or Jerome or whatever, and we'll get you on a plan for the year. Now's the time to buy.
All right, well, we're glad you're here keeping the world safer for us.
We are a public health company.
There we go.
Hey, I like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, thank you very much, Jerome.